off, in our number 10 spot, we have the Omagh photo. This photo was taken on August 15th, 1998 in the town of Omagh, which is located in Northern Ireland. Unfortunately, however, aside from this photo looking extremely pleasant, it has a terrible story attached. The red car you see in the photo unfortunately had an explosive device placed in it by a group that called themselves the Real Irish Republican Army, who were a group that opposed the IRA's ceasefire as well as the Good Friday Agreement, which had been signed earlier in 1998. This photograph was taken just before the explosion went off, and while the dad and the daughter that can be seen in the photo thankfully survived, sadly the person who took the photo did not, and it was recovered from their camera in the aftermath of the explosion. This photo is an extremely eerie and haunting reminder of that terrible day. In our number 9 spot today, we have Robert Landsberg. Robert Landsberg was a photographer who was taking pictures of Mount St. Helens when it disastrously erupted on May 18, 1980. Robert had been in the area taking photos for the days leading up to the eruption in order to document the changes the volcano was going through, which is what led to him being there on the day of this fateful eruption. On the day, he was within just a few miles of the volcano when it erupted, and because of his close proximity, he knew he unfortunately would be unable to escape. Instead of focusing on what would be impossible, Robert took to capturing as many photos as he possibly could before he tucked his camera away inside of his bag and placed his body on top of the bag. If he wasn't going to survive, he wanted to make sure that his work did. His body was found 17 days later with his backpack still underneath him. His film was of course developed and has provided geologists with some really valuable insights with his close documentation of the eruption. This is just one example of how brave many photographers really are. In our number 8 spot today, we have Hari Babu. This is a photo from 1991 and is of Rajiv Gandhi, who was the 6th Prime Minister of India. He took office after his mother had been assassinated, and he was the youngest Prime Minister at only 40 years old. This photo was taken by a 21-year-old local photographer named Hari Babu, but little did everyone know, this would be the last photo he took and the last photo ever taken of Rajiv. Moments after this photo was taken, the woman in the bottom left corner with the orange flowers in her hair approached Rajiv, and when she bent down to touch his feet, she detonated a belt of explosives that she had on under her dress. This explosion ended up killing her, Rajiv, Hari Babu, and around 13 other people. Hari Babu's camera ended up staying intact throughout the blast, and this is how they were able to retrieve this photo. In our number 7 spot today, we have Darsh Patel. Darsh Patel was 22 years old and a student at Rutgers when he was hiking in New Jersey with 4 of his friends in 2014. As he was hiking, he encountered a 300-pound bear, which he snapped a series of photos of. Unfortunately, it was this exact bear that later chased and mauled him, which eventually ended up taking his life. The series of images he took of the bear prior to this terrible incident show the bear slowly walking towards the group, with the bear seemingly getting closer with each shot. Once the bear got close enough, the group split into different directions, and when the other 4 met up later, they realized that they couldn't find Darsh, and they called the police. After a 2-hour search, the police found his body with the same bear lingering nearby. The photos of the bear were recovered from his phone that was found near him, with tooth marks from the bear crushed into it. In our number 6 spot today, we have Jia Lijun. A Chinese businessman named Jia tried to take a selfie with a very large walrus that was located at a zoo in China, but it turned out to be an absolutely terrible incident. It is said that this specific walrus was his favorite, as he had visited it on multiple occasions and had taken photos and videos of it prior, which he shared with family and friends. For whatever reason, on this particular day, when he entered the gated housing area to snap a photo with the walrus, when he got close, she grabbed him from behind and dragged him into the pool. From here, both Jia as well as the on-site zookeeper who had cared for this walrus since she was a baby lost their lives in the water. It is said that the walrus just wanted to play a game and give a sort of a hug, and I mean, after all, how would she know that humans and water aren't the best combination? Unfortunately, there was also surveillance footage of the event that went viral on social media. In our number 5 spot today, we have Alexander Chechik. Alexander was a man who passed away while taking a photo of himself. He is said to have been taking a photo of himself holding a grenade, which he had pulled the pin out of to take the photos to post. He allegedly tried to put the pin back in, but that obviously failed, and it has since been reported that he had the idea in his head that the grenade wouldn't explode unless he threw it. He had sent the photos of him with the grenade to his friends, so it was clear the entire thing wasn't a planned event, but rather a horrible accident. Some of the texts recovered from his phone show his friends trying to warn him of the danger surrounding the stunt before the terrible outcome occurred. In our number 4 spot today, we have Ramandeep Singh. In 2014, Ramandeep was attempting to take a selfie with a gun when it unexpectedly went off and ended up claiming his life. It is said that he was pointing the gun at himself when he went to click the camera button, but instead set the gun off, which did not have the safety on. This was just a terrible reminder of the increasing percent of selfie-related deaths, with recently released statistics at the time showing that in the 3 years before this incident, India was the home of 19 different situations similar to this one. It is just a reminder to us all that no social media post is worth our safety. In our number 3 spot today, we have Anna Ursu. In 2015, Anna and a friend went to a train station in order to capture a very specific selfie that was intended to be posted to Facebook. The pair wanted the photo to be taken on top of one of the trains, but this sadly resulted in dire consequences. As Anna laid on top of the train and stuck one of her legs in the air, an electrical field surrounding the cables that were overhead ended up sending 27,000 volts of electricity zapping through her body. This caused her to burst into flames, and despite the best efforts of everyone around her, she sadly lost her life. The charge was so powerful that the friend who was there to take the photo was sent flying as it happened. Despite the fact that Anna never actually touched the wires, the electrical field was more than enough for tragedy to strike. In our number 2 spot today, we have Hilda Clayton. Hilda Clayton was a combat photographer whose last image is an exceptionally striking one. Hilda took the photo during a live fire training exercise on July 2nd, 2013 in Afghanistan. During this training, a mortar tube accidentally exploded, and it led to the lives of Hilda along with 4 other Afghan National Army soldiers being taken. Hilda was only 22 years old when this incident took place, and since her passing it has been said by the Military Review that, quote, Clayton's death symbolizes how female soldiers are increasingly exposed to hazardous situations in training and in combat on par with their male counterparts. The final photo of Hilda's was published 4 years after her passing with the permission of her family, and there's also now a combat photography award that has been named in her honor. In our number 1 spot today, we have Danish Siddiqui. Reuters photojournalist Danish Siddiqui was just 38 years old when he was killed at the start of the Taliban's offensive strike to retake Afghanistan. It is believed that he may have been injured from shrapnel from a rocket while he was covering a fight between Taliban and Afghanistan commandos. From there, it is believed that he was left behind by the retreating Afghan army before he fell into the hands of the Taliban. From here, only the worst ensued, with absolutely horrifying details being released in the news. Danish was a Pulitzer Prize winner and clearly an extremely dedicated and talented professional. His family has said, quote, Danish was not only an outstanding professional, but also a wonderful human being who captured the truth through his lens.
Coming in at number 10, we have a ghost in Cepheus. This looks like a ghost in the ether for sure. It's actually a rather mysterious dusty curtain featuring a very faint reflection of nebula VDB152. The reddish tinge you see is ultraviolet light from a star causing a rusty looking luminescence in the nebula dust. Described as a cosmic phantom, this picture was released by NASA on Halloween in 2012 and titled A Ghost in Cepheus. This intergalactic ghost is 1,400 light years away, so arguably a safe enough distance for us to deal with. Who knows how fast this ethereal dust can travel though? Also, who knows what this dust is like up close? I don't trust it. Dust it. Coming in at number 9, we have telescope ghouls. Whoa, 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 look up at the top of the James Webb Space Telescope. Do you see what I see? Are these the ghosts of dead astronauts or technicians? Or maybe they're alien apparitions? This photo by NASA's Chris Gunn is incredible, and he has aptly titled it Ghosts and Mirrors for obvious reasons. So it turns out that the picture taken in the Goddard Space Flight Center's Spacecraft System Development and Integration Facility clean room is taken with a super long exposure. All the while, ultraviolet lights were being shone over the telescope to look for contamination. Now the result is this spooky picture. Sounds like a reasonable explanation, right? Some may say too reasonable. Joking, but this telescope may well capture some spooky images of its very own in the future. It's the successor to Hubble, and it's off to explore the universe in March 2021. Any Lord of the Rings fans out there, stand up. How much does this exosolar planet look like the Eye of Sauron at number 8? Like, creepily so. Did J.R.R. Tolkien know about the formal hut when he wrote The Lord of the Rings in 1937? If he didn't, perhaps he foreshadowed it. Get a load of this picture. This is Fomalhaut b in orbit around Fomalhaut. The exoplanet is also known as Dagon. It's an extrasolar object and it orbits a star that gives it its name. How far away is this terrifying eye formation? Only 25 light years. The 2012 images from the Hubble Space Telescope are terrifying. The name Dagon in mythology is a Jewish deity that represents a half man, half fish. Just a side note there for you. Coming in at number 7, did NASA capture an alien moon base? And also, did they accidentally release pictures of it? According to some conspiracists, then yeah, they did. Have a look at these and tell me what you think. Is this alien evidence? Conspiracist YouTube channel Secure Team 10 claimed that these images were proof of an alien base on the moon. The YouTube channel has 1.7 million subscribers, so a lot of people are watching their content. Their channel is filled with moon conspiracies, and they think that these images are a smoking gun for NASA. UFologist and hoax buster Scott Brando said that the images used by Secure Team 10 were low quality and low resolution. He seemed to think that the images are just an optical illusion. Who knows though? Another classic from the Daily Express, we have alien astronauts caught on camera at number 6. Some think that Mars rover Curiosity captured aliens, others think that it's a wider spread conspiracy that humans are already on Mars. The first manned Mars mission is set to begin within the next 10 years, but some are saying that the photos taken by Curiosity and published by NASA already show that there are humans on the red planet. Some people think that these shadow images show astronauts working on the rover to repair it. Others say that the droids show humanoid-looking aliens. Now the conspiracists say that NASA didn't realize how much they were showing when the images were released into the public domain. So, is it aliens or are humans already up on Mars? If so, why would that be hidden from us? Or do these pictures have a more logical explanation? UFO conspiracist good old Scott C. Waring said that this just goes to show the public that the rover is being maintained by humans on Mars and that there are other spacecraft kept secret from the public that can carry peers to Mars in just a few minutes. You know what, Scott? I don't know about that one. Okay, these Death Eaters living out there in space terrify me at number 5. The Harry Potter fans in this video will probably be just as freaked out by this as I am. I don't like them. Get a load of what is lurking in the mist of the Carina Nebula. To me, these are straight up Death Eaters waiting to suck out my soul, but actually, they're supposed to be knots of dark molecular gas. Knots of dark molecular gas waiting to suck out my soul, right? These clouds of gas surround the Great Nebula in Carina, which used to be one of the brightest stars in the sky in the 1800s, but now it's significantly faded. This maybe lends credence to my whole sucking theory, right? Okay, fine, they probably aren't Death Eaters, but still, they're spooky. This picture freaks me out. Coming into number 4, we have the Hand of God. NASA released this X-ray image of light detected by NASA's Chandra X-ray Observatory in 2014. Can you see why they called it the Hand of God? Because it kind of looks like, you know. So this is actually a pulsar wind nebula, a stellar corpse that spins rapidly, firing a particle wind. NASA themselves are mystified by the shape. Alongside the image on their website, they wrote, "One of the big mysteries of this object is whether the pulsar particles are interacting with the material in a specific way to make it look like a hand, or if the material is in fact shaped like a hand." Now a lot of people do genuinely believe that this is God's mark in the universe, like the eye that cropped up earlier. Now I'm not too convinced, but I'd love to know what you think. We have a famous Mars picture that caused a stir at number 3. We have Bigfoot on Mars. Mars's now defunct robot rover Spirit captured this image in late 2007. Who this? A Rudy Nudie alien lady or Bigfoot? Either way, aliens, right? This image boosted the life on Mars discussion, with many conspiracists saying that this image was proof. NASA explained the image is simply the pareidolia phenomena. This is where humans see faces when they aren't there. Analyzing Spirit's image, if this was an alien, it'd be pretty small, according to Phil Platt of Bad Astronomy website. Anyway, NASA says it's nothing more than a Martian rock, although NASA would say that, wouldn't they? Probably because it is just a rock, right? Coming into number 2, we have this screaming skull. It's pretty terrifying. This This screaming skull was another of NASA's Halloween releases, this time from the year 2000. The haunting image was taken from the orbiting Chandra Observatory and is one of a cluster of galaxies known as Perseus. You can see Perseus right here in X-ray vision. The Perseus cluster contains thousands upon thousands of galaxies, so we can't really truly comprehend this picture. It's just much more than a spooky picture than what looks like a skull. It's a lot going on there. While the image is already pretty spooky, it gets scarier when you realize that the bright spot in the X-ray is a black hole. Not to worry though, this scary skull cluster is 320 million light years away. Finally, at number 1, we have a truly iconic and somewhat infamous picture, the Viking 1 faces on Mars. This is one of the most famous NASA images out there and has been used as absolute fuel to conspiracy theorists' fire over the past 40 years. That was since the picture was taken in July 1976. This snap was taken by NASA's Viking 1 spacecraft and seemed to show the shadowy likeness of a human face, only this face is 2 miles long. Taken in the Cydonia region of Mars, the image was sent back to mission controllers at the Jet Propulsion Lab. At the time, theorists went wild, saying that it was evidence of an ancient civilization on Mars. Now the image did quite look like an Egyptian pharaoh after all. NASA explained that the image was just a Martian messer with the sunlight playing tricks. NASA later went back with the Mars orbiter camera, but people simply explained the lack of face that time by saying that it was a cloudy day and the alien detail couldn't be seen. I don't know, I'm thinking it probably was just a trick of the light.
Starting off this countdown, we have the plot to kill. This photo was taken of Thomas Bart Whittaker on the left and his younger brother Kevin on the right, just hours before Thomas planned to have his family killed. So apparently the two brothers were just goofing off and their mother wanted to take a photo of them. Then later they went out for dinner as like a little celebration for Thomas completing his exams, which was a lie. Anyways, while they were at the restaurant, Thomas had his friend enter his home and retrieve a gun and stage a burglary. He then waited at the front door for Thomas's family to return home. Once they did, he shot Thomas's mom and brother. His dad managed to survive. The photo shows Thomas's happy younger brother, but little did he know that his older brother literally had a plot to kill him. It's so disturbing. In our 9th spot, we have Victor Barrio. But before we go any further, if you guys are liking this video, make sure to give it a big thumbs up and of course, subscribe to our channel. Come on guys, it really helps us out, so hit that button, subscribe, ring that little bell. Victor Barrio was a 29-year-old Spanish bullfighter. Sadly, on July 9th, 2016, his bullfighting days came to an end when a 529-kilogram bull's horn pierced through his chest. This moment was captured in front of a live audience and also was broadcasted on live TV. Some people managed to get photos as this happened and it's horrifying. You can see the look of pain on his face as the bull's horn just plunges through him. Like, I feel so bad for him and for all the people that had to witness it. It's so scary. In our 8th spot, we have the Panama hikers. Chris Kremers and Lizanne Froon were 2 young Dutch females that saved up to take a trip to Panama. Except while on a hike in the Panamanian jungle, the 2 disappeared. It wasn't until months later that their bodies were found, but it's still unclear how the 2 died. The last photos taken of them were in April of 2014, the day that they went on the hike. They are selfies of the girls looking very excited to be on the trip. These photos were found on their camera, which was found in a backpack along the banks of a river. The camera also contained other pictures, like of the jungle in the dead of night. Maybe they were using the camera's flash as a source of light. Another photo showed the back of Chris's head and it was bleeding. Again, it's so scary looking at these photos. Like, these poor young girls had no clue what was about to happen to them and they were so excited for their trip. Coming in at number 7, we have the drowning. On October 22nd, 2003, Tina Watson and her husband, David Gabriel, went out scuba diving on their honeymoon. They just got married 11 days earlier and scuba diving was part of their honeymoon itinerary. Now in this photo, if you look right at the back, you can see a diver laying on the seafloor. That's Tina Watson. A few minutes before this photo was taken, it's believed that her husband turned off her air supply and held her underwater until she drowned. Then he swam up to the surface to alert other divers that she was in trouble. The photo was captured accidentally and you can see the divers going to help Tina. Some say he held her underwater until she drowned. Others say he saw her struggling as a new scuba diver and just kind of left her there to die on her own. Either way, he pleaded guilty to manslaughter and that was the last photo ever taken of her. In our 6th spot, spot, we have the Dyatlov Pass incident. In February of 1959, a group of 9 experienced hikers set out to traverse the snowy mountains of Siberia. However, they all ended up mysteriously dying one by one. This photo was one of the last photos taken of them. Now, this case has been debated about for years, and there's tons of theories as to what happened to them. Some say they were hit by an avalanche at night and died from exposure. Others say a Yeti got them. In fact, there was a picture of a creature that looks like a Yeti found on one of the explorers' cameras. But it's a very odd case, like their tent was found ripped open from the inside, 2 bodies were found and they were only wearing underwear in the freezing cold. Another explorer's body was missing her tongue, eyes, and lips, and 2 of the other bodies had major chest fractures. To cause someone that much damage, it would be like equivalent to a car crash. And another hiker had a really high level of radiation on their clothes. It's just crazy, and to this day we don't know what truly happened. We all have these theories, but the only ones that really know are the hikers in the photo. We're now at our 5th and halfway mark with the submarine murder. Back in August of 2013, freelance journalist Kim Wall got an interview with Danish inventor Peter Madsen. As part of the interview, Kim was set to take a trip on his homemade submarine. This photo shows Kim aboard the submarine just before her trip. Sadly, once inside, Peter killed her and dismembered her body. Why did he do this? Well, some say he became fascinated with murder and torture. Evidence showed that he had been watching videos of women being killed on his computer, and shortly before he beheaded Kim, he watched a video on it. So it was clear that he had a fascination with it. It's sad that Kim had to be his victim. In our 4th spot, we have the Facebook murder. A couple of hours after this picture was taken, Cheyenne Anton left, used the black belt she is seen wearing in that photo to strangle Brittany Gargle. The 2 were best friends, but apparently got into a heated argument and Cheyenne hit and strangled Brittany. Imagine taking a selfie with someone you thought you could trust just for them to go and kill you a couple hours later. It is so sick. Now, Cheyenne actually got away with this murder for 2 years until police finally found this photo on her Facebook and noticed that the belt that she was wearing was the same one found at the crime scene. She then pleaded guilty to manslaughter and was sentenced to 7 years in prison. Moving on to number 3, we have parkour gone wrong. Pavel Kashin was known for his dangerous stunts and abilities. In 2013, he challenged himself to do a backflip on the edge of a 16-floor building. He successfully completed the backflip, but as he landed, he lost his footing and fell over the edge. He died instantly. This photo was captured by his friend while he was performing the stunt. You can see he's in midair doing his trick. Sadly, that was the last stunt he ever performed. And at number 2, we have the stalker. On February of 2017, best friends Abby Williams and Libby German headed out for a hike in Indiana. This photo is of Abby Williams, taken right before they were both murdered. What's very disturbing is that in the background of these photos, you can literally see their killer lurking there. Apparently, the man was stalking them for quite some time, and in the girl's photo roll, they actually got some pictures of him, probably because they felt like he was following them. So in the last photo ever taken of Abby, you can literally see her killer behind her. It makes me so sick. Worst of all, he's never been caught. There's currently a reward for anyone that can identify the man though, so hopefully they can get some justice soon. And in our number 1 spot, we have the gruesome scene. This photo is going to send shivers down your spine. But before I show you, let me give you a quick backstory. So this photo was taken of Travis Alexander while he was taking a shower. It was taken by his girlfriend and murderer Jody shortly before she stabbed him 27 to 29 times. She also slit his throat nearly ear to ear and shot him in the head. It was a very gruesome and sinister murder. In this photo, you can see how uncomfortable Travis looks. It's almost as if he knew she was up to something. He looks absolutely terrified. Now, the camera that captured this photo was actually tossed into his washing machine as an attempt to destroy it. But it didn't work, and some of the photos were still salvageable, like this one and one that she took of Travis's dead, bloody body. I saw it. You don't want to see it.